sunsets and skies so blue. Mountains whisper stories of dreams so true. From oceans roaring wild to valleys deep, a heartbeat of a nation that will not sleep. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people's above it all. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. People sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people above it all. Written all, written all.
Stupid people should wear signs, neon bright, so we can find a way to dodge their tangled mess, avoid their chaos more, say less. Wear a sign, wear a sign. Save me from your twisted line. Wear a sign, wear a sign. Nada, nada, don't waste your time. Politicians dance and spin, blatant lies with a practiced grin. Blame the moon, blame the stars, blame the traffic or faulty cars. You think they're 6, not 35, playing games to stay alive. Wear a sign, wear a sign. Save me from your twisted line. Wear a sign, wear a sign. Nada, nada, don't waste your time.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Wear a sign, wear a sign. Stupid people should wear signs. Indeed, folks. Welcome back to the program. It's Chris Wyatt Reports on Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. Welcome back. My Chinese clock is falling behind time again, 1 minute already, in less than a month. Well, it's a pleasure to have you all join me once again. Lots of news to talk about around the world, including France's government in crisis, demon rat governors and mayors in America in crisis, and all kinds of things. For those who missed it, we had an interview with Frick and Pamela earlier, refugees from South Africa who've arrived in the United States, living in Wausau, Wisconsin, and loving it so far. Been here about 3 weeks. These are people who, when I announced that the program had went live on the 12th of May, he was watching, saw my video from Wimpy, went and filled out a statement of interest, and now finds himself in the United States about 3 weeks ago in late September. So May, June, July, August, September. It took 4 months for him to get here, and they're incredibly grateful for their arrival, and fantastic to see them join us here in America. And again, I don't encourage anyone to leave South Africa. It's a wonderful country ruined by kleptocracy and gangsters, but I understand why people feel the need to leave South Africa. So I don't encourage you to leave. If you choose to leave, that's your prerogative. Not my place to say one way or the other. Welcome back to the program. Phoenix says, great interview. Thank you very much for that. We dispelled a lot of rumors in that interview, one of which was people were freaking out a few weeks back because the topic of persecution, the topic of past military and police service, and some people were telling people that they served in the police and military, they couldn't come over. That's utter nonsense. I've always said that it's a question whether you committed any crimes. If you're not committed a crime, it doesn't matter whether you served in government, whether you served in the military, whether you served in the police. As long as you didn't commit any crimes, human rights abuses, then you're going to be okay. So I wouldn't worry about it. And this interview proved that because he's a former police officer. So there you go. We dispelled a number of other rumors too and myths about the refugee program. So I'm glad for both of them coming on the program. It was lovely to have them both on the program at the same time. So good to see. All right, guys, let's get to the... No, they just ask if you ever deployed in active duty. No, Philip, that's not true. That may have been your experience, but I can tell you other people's experiences. They ask far deeper probing questions, particularly about townships and particularly about the border war. Not simply whether you're deployed. It's not, well, were you deployed? End of the questions. No, then they went deeper on several people. So that's your experience. That's not everybody's. Have single people gone to USA? Of course. Veroshka, the first person ever came over was single. Thea van Straten. Thea van Straten was the first person ever interviewed. I interviewed her in South Africa, and I interviewed her here in America. She's single. She's the first person to ever come over, not just families. Yes, Philip, you're probably trustworthy. Yeah. So I have the distinction, fortunately, kindly, of the refugees, of having the first ever interview with the South African refugee, despite the fake news of the British propaganda outlet known as British Bullshit Corporation. The BBC lied, claiming it had the first interview with Charles. It did not have the first interview with Charles Kleinhans. That was after he arrived in the States. They may have had the first one of someone in the States, but that's because I was still in South Africa and couldn't do the interview. I had the first interview with a South African refugee, and that was with Thea back in Pretoria East before they even flew out of the country. And unlike the irresponsible mainstream fake government propaganda outlets, I showed responsibility as a journalist and did not expose her or her compatriots to danger by publishing that interview while they were still in South Africa. I waited until they're safely in America, unlike what the media have done to them. And then I've just had the distinction today of completing the first ever interview of refugees who come to America since the 59ers. Till this point, the only people interviewed, to my knowledge, anywhere that have arrived in America have been 59ers. This is the first interview. Thank you both for that. I like that distinction. That's pretty cool. It also destroys the fake media and their lies, so that's a pleasure. Thank you for that, guys, and thank you for those who tuned in. We had a peak audience of nearly 1,000, and over 4,000 people watched it while it was on, so thank you for that. Hopefully more people will see it, and it will dispel a lot of the nonsense about the program. Well, go look for the video. Missed it. Well, Varushka, you missed it because YouTube is not promoting it. When you go to YouTube, you open up your app or you open up your browser on your tablet or your laptop, and you're a frequent viewer of my program, one of the first things you should pop up is my latest video. That's not happening in 99% of the cases. It's called shadow banning. Called shadow banning, folks. And that's what they do to limit the reach of us, which is asinine. What are they so afraid of? What are they so afraid of? Well, go watch it after this, folks. One of the mods, please put a link in so people can open up in a tab and they can go watch it afterwards. Why are they afraid of the truth? Why is the truth so scary? Well, fascists and totalitarians don't like the truth. They never have. That's why they try to silence people. That's why they try to silence people. Anyway, folks, there you have it. So I hope that you found it interesting. Also, I just published a video a short while ago, which I recorded earlier this morning about an incident in South Africa. It looks like it's not getting very many views. I published it 30 minutes ago. Oh, it's got 1,000. Okay, so yeah. This is about some gentleman who's being harassed over property by the EFF. I haven't seen the comments on it yet. Let me take a look at that briefly and see what people are saying. Okay. Yep. Okay. So people have made some comments on it. Nothing bad. So, oh, you just watched it. Thank you, Syncmaster. What, the interview or the video I just did? So I'll be doing another interview today if I have time. I'm being interviewed at 3 p.m. But that's a recorded video, so I'll let you know where it's at later on. But I'm being interviewed today, and so at 3 p.m. that's in less than 3 hours. In the meantime, if I have time, sufficient time, I'm going to make 2 more videos today. I'll release them separately. One about the ANC's program for economic development, and another one about the ANC's bills that it owes. Now, does that affect? I think the Colonel and Dogzilla have a love-hate relationship. I don't love or hate Danielle. I have no relationship with him, Danielle. No relationship whatsoever. He's just a troll that comes on my channel and doesn't do enough to outright ban him because that's just silly. I don't believe in banning people, but he does really. But last night was fun. He spewed all kinds of uninformed nonsense about America, completely ignorant of our system of governance and of how the country is. Well, the president has no right to overrule Congress. Well, yes, he does. It's called the veto. Every president exercised it. Yep. Interview last week with South African land 3 weeks ago on another YouTube channel, the guy that stays in Tennessee. Okay, well then I stand corrected. Wow, and thanks to that guy for not bothering to come on my channel. Okay, well then I stand corrected. Okay, I'm unaware of that video, so I will retract that statement. News to me. Interesting. News to me. First I heard of that. So I will retract that, okay? And have retracted it right here for the people that will glom onto my video, steal my content, and falsely make a report saying I falsely claimed I had the first interview. I will retract that. Wolf says that someone else did it. That was news to me. Never seen the video. Unaware of it. Yeah. But that's a YouTube channel. I'm a journalist, so I'll keep that distinction. All right. Nearly blew a gasket. Yep. We're going to talk about Malema as well. Yeah. No, Malema's not going to behave in Parliament. He won't behave until he's in prison and he's, tossing the salad, so to speak. Gold prices top $4,000 for the first time ever today. Ooh, uncertainty over the U.S. economy as the government shutdown continues. And quite frankly, I'm happy about the government shutdown. Seriously. We're not burying ourselves in deeper debt. The government can't spend money it doesn't have. Well, Wolf the Blind Biker, you can attest the fact that I retracted my statement since I was not correctly informed. All right. Philip says, told you guys to buy gold. When, Philip? When it was $3,000 an ounce? If you told me to buy gold when it was $700 an ounce, then I would say you were astute. Then I would say you're astute. $4,000 an ounce record run for futures comes amid concerns about the economy's outlook. Well, I'm not concerned about the economy. I'm concerned about the Democrats and their effort to destroy this country with debt. Yeah. So in nominal dollars, it is still a record. It's there was a huge gap between nominal dollars, the actual inflation adjusted dollars, and dollars in 1980. You can see the difference there for inflation adjusted. But in September 2025 dollars, it's tracking together. Gold soared to $4,000 a troy ounce for the first time, signaling an investor rush into alternative assets at a time of concern with the outlook for the U.S. economy. Well, maybe those investors are doing that, but I will tell you that I'm looking very closely at additional stocks that are dropping in price, that are a bargain at the moment. So if I can find some spare cash, I will be investing in healthy businesses that are being driven down by market speculation. So you all can buy gold all you want. That's your prerogative. I'm not buying gold, not at $4,000 an ounce. Portfolio ad hoc into the police in general started today. It was a joke. It was delayed till 3 o'clock. Malema had a tantrum about the wording of the Yeah, well, he's an idiot. Hendo said he told people went to $750 an ounce. Okay, well then, Hendo, you were right. Okay. Trump's attempt to reorder global trade has buoyed prices and upended growth forecasts. White House pressure on the Federal Reserve. So global economic growth has been harmed by Trump's policies. So what does that mean? The only way the world gets richer is if America gets poorer. That's what they're saying. So if countries take advantage of America by imposing quotas and tariffs on our exports so we can't grow our economy, but we buy your crap, and now we impose tariffs so that you can't cheat us, that means that the world's economy is slowing down because people can't cheat us anymore. Wow. And America doesn't matter. We're declining in power. But Trump's global tariffs have so harmed the global economy that it's slowing down. One man. But America doesn't matter. It's the global South. The global South. What a joke. Those factors buoyed gold, perhaps the original refuge from market tumult, pushing the most actively traded futures past 3,000 a troy ounce in March. But even as trade tensions have died down and AI-crazed stock markets have resumed their record-breaking run in recent weeks, gold has notched record after record. The latest leg of the rally began in August when Fed Chairman Jerome Powell signaled the central bank was ready to begin cutting interest rates. So why would that drive gold higher? It should drive it lower. Interesting. The counterintuitive effort. Julius Malema says that KZN Police Commissioner Mkwanazi's testimony is invalid. And the committee adjourns. Look at that slimming disease fellow there. EFF leader Juju, convicted criminal, convicted felon, convicted criminal. Julius Malema has challenged KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nandla Mkwanazi's appearance before Parliament's ad hoc committee, arguing that his statement was not properly submitted and therefore his testimony is invalid. Well, Julius Malema is a criminal and his position on the Judicial Service Commission is illegitimate and invalid. And what he has to say, no one gives a flying flip about. So, Juju, doo-doo head, leave the commission. You have no business being on it. You are a convicted criminal. A convicted criminal. A convicted criminal. Can we say that enough? Julius Malema is a convicted criminal in civil court, in a civil suit, and a criminal court. He has been convicted of multiple crimes against the people of South Africa. Julius Malema, the convicted criminal. I can't say that enough. Julius Malema. By the way, if you're typing in capital letters, your messages will be deleted by my moderators. Please do not do that. That is attention seeking, and that's unacceptable. You want attention? Put a super chat in there. Julius Malema, the convicted criminal. Oh yeah, love that. Well, after seizing the ANC's assets, oh, the news gives me such joy these days. After seizing ANC assets at their headquarters, Izulani Investments will target the party's provincial and local offices to recoup the $122 million it is owed. Now it's $122 million. How much money are they actually owed? Okay, so it was $102 million debt from 2019. Fines and interest by the court pushed it to $152 million. Then the media breathlessly, fraudulently reported that the debt was paid magically after Jabba the Hutt went to Tehran, not Lady Pandor, and came back. And then, boom, in November 2023, in December, suddenly the bill was paid in full, they claimed, the $102 million. Only they never paid it. The ANC never paid it. Just the other day, they're reporting that they were still owed 85.5 million rand. So what's 122 now? Is that additional interest? Convicted, convict in chief, chief sellotape, Juju Malema. There you go, Chris Aylers. Yes, folks, in 2023, the ANC reached a settlement agreement with the printing and marketing company for the unpaid work on election banners. After seizing assets, the ANC's Latuli House offices, they say they are now targeting the party's provincial and local offices. The ANC says it intends to pursue a counterclaim for all the payments it's made and has also threatened to privately prosecute directors of the company. So the ANC is using the power of the state to threaten private entities whom they owe money to because they're deadbeats. They're deadbeats. They're just beggars. The ANC are a bunch of grifting, thieving beggars. A disgrace to the liberation movement. An absolute disgrace to the liberation movement. A bunch of scumbag thieves. Well, speaking of scumbag thieves, let's talk about ESCOM. ESCOM employees are demanding a 15% pay rise. 15%. The biggest union at ESCOM is demanding a wage increase of as much as 15%. The National Union of Mine Workers, numbheads, representing about 15,000 employees at the state-owned utility, has submitted demands before the Central Bargaining Forum, arguing that they need this 15%. 15%. So where exactly is the 15% supposed to come from? Thin air? You're going to raise rates again on customers? Electricity costs in South Africa have risen 800% since 2007. 800%. And these clowns want a 15% pay rise. Audrey Myring, it's not the right time to ask me a question. It's a bit unfair. I'm doing the news. Please ask at the end, but I will address it this one-off time. What are my thoughts on the period for U.S. lockdown? I think it's fantastic. I think it's wonderful. They can't spend money. They can't bury us in debt. I have no problem with it. None whatsoever. Essential services are still provided, proving that the rest is just bull squirt. We don't need all of it. We don't need these other things from the government. Electricity became unaffordable. No, it's okay, Audrey, but I'm doing the news, dude. Come on, pay attention to what's going on here. I'm doing the news, and once I'm done the news, I try to address questions. But there, I've answered it for you. You probably didn't know better. South Africa seeks up to $3 billion from the African Export-Import Bank for a black enterprise fund. Oh, can you say racism? The government moves to full sovereign membership of the $43 billion African bank to unlock funding. And what's the first thing that the ANC does after it joins the African Export-Import Bank after 31 years of not being a member of it? It begs for money to support a racist program. You can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. The government is seeking $2 to $3 billion in support from the African Export-Import Bank for the Transformation Fund, which is intended to provide finance to black-only businesses. To black-only businesses. So they join the bank, and the first thing they want to do is give money to people based on their skin pigmentation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call racism. Racism. Yes, South Africa is escalating its membership in the bank, which has assets of $43 billion, from Class B share membership to full sovereign share. Yeah, so they've never been a full member. This move will offer significant and wide-range support to South African firms, but only if you're black. The cabinet has already approved a session, which requires parliamentary endorsement. The absence of sovereign membership has restricted the bank's ability to extend support to South African projects. Also meant that South Africa cannot influence the bank's strategic direction. Cool. South Africa has no business influencing the strategic direction when South Africa seeks to influence the bank to be racist. Africa is full of Arabs, Asians, white people, mixed race people, and black people. But the ANC wants $3 billion to enrich black people only. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. I've done my time. So tie a yellow ribbon round that old oak tree. It's been 6 long years. Tony Orlando and Dawn. If I don't find a yellow ribbon round that old oak tree, I'll stay on the bus. Forget about us. Put the blame on me. The criminals are coming back from Israel. That's right. The people impeding international maritime activity, falsely claiming that they're there as a flotilla to save and humanitarian aid. No humanitarian aid whatsoever found on the boats whatsoever. Just their little treats, their little doggy snacks. For Greta Thunberg. She had some milk bone snacks. You can just see it now. Greta on the boat. Hey, Greta. Yeah. Greta Thunberg and her cohorts. Well, the South Africans, I'm coming home, tie a yellow ribbon. Yeah, Mandla Mandela and the other retards are on their way back from Israel via Jordan. A group of South African idiots who were detained lawfully by Israeli military for impeding international maritime traffic while they claim they were transporting humanitarian aid, none of which was found on any of the boats, have arrived safely in Jordan and are expected to be back in South Africa on Wednesday. They were held at the Kizut prison in the Negev Desert after the global retard flotilla, a convoy of 25 dipshits, was intercepted in international waters 130 kilometers off Gaza. We're reporting that all our comrades on the Global Solidarity dumbass boats are safe and sound. Welcome back to South Africa for the 30% crowd. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you too can tie a yellow ribbon around that old oak tree. Welcome back, Mandela Mandela, because his children don't know if daddy's going to be killed by the Israelis. So terrible. Yes. Parliament state capture probe stalls over dispute. We mentioned this already with Juju Malema over the dispute with Mkhonazi. EFF's dumbass convicted criminal Julius Malema challenges admissibility of police chief statements, forcing adjournment for the committee's first sitting. So here's the question. Where was dumbass Julius Malema for the first time when Mkhonazi testified? Why wasn't this raised then? Was he not present for the Judicial Services Commission hearing? Or was he just too stupid to question it then? Julius Malema is an illegitimate member of the Judicial Service Commission. He's a convicted criminal. Oh, I can't say that enough. I can't say that enough. Julius Malema is a convicted criminal. Yes, oh no, they were abducted, Marissa. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was like being grabbed on the streets of P by gangsters and held for ransom. No, it wasn't. They were committing international maritime crimes, and Israel, under international maritime law, interdicted these criminals and arrested them. They're lucky they're not in prison. They should have been in prison for their crimes. Murder, corruption claims, deeply humiliating. The Patriotic Alliance is not happy about a campaign of defamation. Here's PA leader Gate McKenzie and Kenny Kinane, who are seeking an urgent interdict in the Western Cape High Court against this idiot, Mehmet Vefa Dag and Chanan Merrickx. Yes, PA leader Gate McKenzie and his deputy Kenny Kinane have taken controversial politician. He's not a politician, he's an asshole. That guy is not a politician. That guy right there is not a Cape Town politician. He's an asshole. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry for the profanity, folks, but that's what he is. He's a bumhole. That's what the guy is. He's not a politician. What political party is he part of? What does he represent? The pair allege that Vefa, Dag, and Merrickx have circulated claims linking them to serious crimes, including murder, corruption, and theft of public funds, which they say have caused them significant harm to their reputation and public standing. McKenzie is also Minister of Sport and the City of Johannesburg member of the Mayoral Committee for Transport, Kinane, intend to file a defamation lawsuit within 30 days and are asking the court to order this idiot and Merrickx to pay their legal costs on an attorney-client scale. In Kinane's founding affidavit, filed on behalf of McKenzie on their personal capacities and seen by News 24, the application was necessary because of their persistent, escalating, malicious campaign of defamation. The gravity of the campaign stems from the type of defamatory material published. The respondents' conduct is characterized by the most severe form of defamation, factual allegations of capital crimes, specifically murder, conspiracy to commit murder, orchestrating violent assault, tender fraud, and ongoing corruption. These are not mere criticisms of political performance or expressions of opinion. They are calculated and unambiguous accusations of criminality that strike at the very core of both Kinane and McKenzie's integrity. And I agree 100%. Gate McKenzie is 100% correct in this. And while I'm not a fan of Kenny Kinane, they're 100% correct. This idiot is not a politician. He's a fraud who keeps lying about people and he has no evidence of it. Vefa Dag is a controversial figure and the founder of the political party Truth and Solidarity Movement, which is no stranger in defamation disputes. Well, how many votes does this party have? Happy birthday to your dad. Is he here, Virtual Western Cape? Is your father here? Here's a birthday cake for your dad. Okay. So good luck to Kenny Kinane and Gate McKenzie, who there's plenty of bad things to say about both of those people and plenty of things to criticize politically for, which is legitimate. But this guy's attacks are unwarranted. Yeah, no soap on a rope for Juju. Nope. Don't bend over, Juju. Don't bend over in the shower. Eskom will spend 512 million rand more than they were supposed to spend to build a single power station. The Kusile Power Station's Unit 6 generator entered commercial operation in late 2025. September, officially concluding construction on what is likely the world's most expensive coal-fired power station. When it began in 2008, the project had a budget of 81 billion rand. However, costs have skyrocketed, and independent estimates put the total cost of the station at 233 billion rand. The Kusile Power Station is the first South African power station to use wet flue gas desulfurization technology. At its peak, it had a generating capacity of 4,800 megawatts, or 4.8 gigawatts. The power station, located near Mhaleni in Mpumalanga, began construction in August 2008. Its initial estimated completion date was sometime in 2014. However, the first unit only entered commercial service in 2017, and 3 more units reached operation in 2022. Then disaster struck in 2022 when the flue gas desulfurization system connected to units 1, 2, and 3 collapsed. All the units were taken offline. So now we're finally there. And what did it cost? A buttload of money. Flawed design, corruption, and violence. Yep. No work, no pay clause was invoked at the power station when some contractor employees demanded that a memorandum for grievances be accepted. More than 2,000 workers had their employment terminated and were replaced. And here is what happened. Original budget, 81,000. Estimated cost, 233 billion. Over budget, 152 billion rand over budget. Completion date was supposed to be 2014, only completed in September of 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the African National Congress and their level of competence. The overruns were twice the initial cost estimate. The plant was 11 years beyond the date it was supposed to be completed because of corruption, kleptocracy, fraud. Welcome to the ANC. The Democratic Alliance's Member of Parliament Diane Kohler-Barnard wants an apology from Nkwinazi, who implicated her in the commission. He claimed that she disclosed classified police crime intelligence. She dismissed his claims and she wants an apology. In an interview with Newsroom Africa, who was a member of the ad hoc committee, said she's looking forward to hearing his testimony. I'm hoping perhaps he'll finally apologize and retract the claim he made on the initial day of the commission where he claimed I'd broken the law and I was a criminal and part of a criminal syndicate. It would be the right thing for him to apologize. He has my phone number. He could have phoned me, but he's chosen not to do that. We'll have to wait and see what he has to say. I'm not holding my breath for an apology. Well, Member of Parliament Diana Kohler-Barnard, you're welcome to come on this program and discuss this topic. Happy to discuss it with you. Miss V gave 150 Rand super chat, and it's not going to come up because the alert box is off. There we go. Thank you. Hopeful for a call soon. Clouds are gathering. Clouds are gathering. Former Eskom CEO and target of assassination, Andre de Ruyter, the green energy god, says there's a reason why Eskom doesn't have load shedding, and he claims it's on a neglected and not acknowledged reason. And I'm going to take issue with that. I don't know where Andre de Ruyter has been hiding at under a rock, but I've been reporting the reason why, as has even the South African media and many YouTube commenters. Andre de Ruyter explains why there's no load shedding. Former Eskom CEO Andre de Ruyter says load shedding has been suspended because of 3 factors working together to boost the power utilities generating output and reduce demand. Speaking to renowned economist Davi Root on CakeNet's owned by Sake program, de Ruyter reiterated many of the points he made at the September Business Investments Conference. He explained that a largely unacknowledged contributor to ending load shedding was the massive amounts of rooftop solar and battery backups private individuals and businesses have deployed. A largely unacknowledged? Hey, genius. Before the load shedding stopped, I said it was going to stop. Why? Because 6 gigawatts of electricity demand is no longer on the grid. South Africans have removed 6 gigawatts. This is 6 months ago. Who knows what it is now? It's probably 7 gigawatts of power are no longer demand on the grid. And you're saying it's largely unacknowledged? Dude, I'm not exactly claiming to be the rocket scientist who told the world that first, although I probably was one of the first people to do it. But everybody's talked about this. What planet is he living on? He's living the same bubble he lived in when he was the director of Eskom. Green energy, green energy, green energy. Solar panels, solar panels. Andre de Ruyter, this is not exactly news. Largely unacknowledged. Really. My Broadband. Business Tech. I think even the Daily Maverick and Cockprot 24 have said the same thing. Got to give him credit. Got to give him credit. He is smoking his socks, Ingrid. He is smoking his socks. Well, the African National Congress is mulling bringing in a big gun. What big gun does the ANC have? Trevor Emanuel? It's not Pravin Gordon. He's passed away. Who's their big gun? They have no big guns. Fikiri Mablop. Who's their big gun to run for mayor? They don't have a big gun. Seriously, who's their big gun? And Johan Rupert? ANC is considering challenging DA in the Johannesburg mayoral race by fielding a high-profile parliamentary candidate breaking from past regional selection traditions. With the race for control of Joburg intensifying ahead of the next local government elections, ANC is considering a strategy to directly challenge the DA by fielding a high-profile parliamentary candidate as a mayoral contender. Helen Zilla's entry into the contest has heightened the stakes, forced the ANC and other parties to rethink their traditional approach. Herman Mashaba has hired a television personality to be his candidate. So, first off, let's be clear about this. The whole thing is comical. It's all comical. They're telling you this is their mayoral candidate. But guess what? How many South Africans get to vote for Helen Zilla, the ANC candidate, or the DA, or the Action SA candidate? How many Joburg residents will actually get to vote for those people? Do you know what the answer is? Do you know what the answer is? Pierre Jordan, thank you for your membership. Do you know what the answer is, ladies and gentlemen? The number of Johannesburg residents who will get to vote for Helen Zilla or for Herman Mashaba's TV personality or for ANC candidate, and Conrad Heidenhuis has got it right. Fuck all. Nobody. It's comical. You don't vote for the mayor. The mayor is picked by the corrupt politicians in the council in a parliamentary fashion. So it doesn't matter who stands for mayor. It's a joke. It's a joke. Just like South Africa's so-called democracy is a joke. You have no say. All you get to do is pick a party, and they pick the retards that serve the party. And those retards vote for the biggest retard to be the mayor. There you go. Nobody votes for the mayor. It's comical. Well, the ANC Youth League is on the prowl again, calling the ANC to quit unity government in KZN. Oh, yeah, that's going to solve problems. Go ahead. You have 16% of the vote. The ANC Youth League. See, the youth. We got to have younger people. Get rid of the old people. The youth are the answer tomorrow. No, they're not. They're dumb idiots with milk dripping behind their ear for the most part. Not very many bright young people. There's some, not many. Quit the government national unity. Quit the regional unity. Quit the provincial unity. The ANC has 16% of the vote in the province. Go ahead and quit the government. Leave it. Nobody cares. You're like the EFF. You're an afterthought. Even the DA is almost bigger than you in KZN. Think about that, ANC. Idiots. ANC Youth League and KZN has accused the IFP and DA of calculated tactics aimed at undermining ANC-aligned officials, claiming these actions are designed to weaken their former ruling party. No, your corrupt officials are being sidelined by legitimate government representatives. Get over yourself. Yeah, 35 is not youth. South Africa, here's some good news, folks. We've been told all the bad news. Here's some good news. South Africa's mobile data costs have declined by almost 100% since 2000. That's pretty incredible when you think about it. The price of a megabyte of mobile data from South Africa's largest cellular network is reduced by roughly 99.9% over the past 25 years. Mobile data costs are a sensitive issue in South Africa, with customers and politicians often accused of operators of charging exorbitant fees. But see, that's a false allegation. Over 2.5 decades, the providers have lowered the price by nearly 100%. It's basically free, yet they're accused of gouging people. I have to put the birthday cake up. For whom? Whose birthday is it, Charles? Whose birthday is it? So we'll put the cake back up. I already put it up once. Are you behind, or do we have another birthday celebration here? There you go. Oh, it's Charles' birthday. Oh, well, Charles, we're going to give you a little something extra there.
A fucking goat outside.
It's just a goat.
No, it's a fucking goat.
It's just a goat, man. It's just a goat. Don't get too excited. It's just a goat. Well, data costs are down. And more good news. A court has dropped the deadline to fix foreign ownership for FlySAF. This meddling in private enterprise is disturbing. This protectionism is abusive. This is the exact reason why South Africa is getting the reciprocal tariffs from Donald Trump for this nonsense. This sort of activity are forcing FlySAF to have local ownership and not let it be a company. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why they're getting reciprocal tariffs. But this is good news. The court has scrapped Fly Safair's deadline to fix its foreign ownership. Fly Safair was granted an urgent interdict on Tuesday that scraps the January deadline it was given to rectify its ownership structure. South Africa's Domestic Aviation License Authority ruled in January this year that it was not compliant with local protectionist rules and gave it 12 months to fix it. Provides more time for the court to hear their legal challenge to the decision. Yep, it's a largely Irish company with South African owners in part, and they're trying to force it to be South African owned. Wrong answer. Tunisia has pardoned a man who was sentenced to death over Facebook posts. Can you imagine a country that's so afraid of speech that they sentence someone to death for what they posted on Facebook? Simply criticism. Merlot, 14 Rand, saying happy birthday to Charles. Thank you. Clouds are gathering. Sabir Ben Chouchane was given the death penalty over post for insulting this fascist dictator who's the illegitimate leader of Tunisia, Kais Saied, excuse me. Tunisian man had been sentenced to death over Facebook post. Thank you for your subscription, Steve Crawford. Over Facebook post deemed offensive to President Kais Saied has been pardoned and released from prison. He was left jailed overnight and was at home with his family, his lawyer told news agencies after a wave of criticism from human rights groups over the case. His brother was also confirmed to be Reuters news agency that he had been freed, while the rights group Amnesty International said a statement that he had been released due to presidential pardon. They were astonished by the death sentence, which rights groups said represented a chilling new level of oppression amid tightening restrictions on speech since this illicit leader of Tunisia grabbed power in 2021 and suspended parliament. Yes, it's a fascist dictator state. Ben Ali was a benign dictator until he became thoroughly corrupt. Habib Bourguiba was a great leader of a country. Israel, 2 years since the terrorists murdered 1,200 people, gang raped, beheaded, slaughtered, put babies in microwave ovens, or in ovens, excuse me, not microwaves, and tortured and dismembered and took hostages. The terrorists, which the world seems to forget about, and blame Israel for the conflict that Hamas began. Somber milestone comes with peace talks underway. Hostages from the Hamas-led attack still in Gaza, and more than 67,000 Palestinians dead, and Israel more isolated than ever. Israel marked the second anniversary of the terrorist attack that began its longest war in subdued fashion today, with new hopes of ending the conflict, but with hostages still in captivity and its exhausted military adding to the death toll of Palestinians and destruction of Gaza. The arrival of the Jewish harvest festival, Sukkot, a national religious holiday, shut down most businesses across Israel for the day. But Tuesday's milestone was inescapable. Anat Magnesi holding a picture of her son Amit, who was killed at the Nova Music Festival on October 7th, 2023. All told, Hamas murdered 1,200 people, most of them civilians, and took 250 captives back to Gaza. Bloodiest day in Israel's history and the deadliest day for Jews anywhere since the Holocaust. 2 years ago today. They murdered Jews, Christians, and Muslims, as well as Buddhists on that day. Callously executed Filipinos and Bangladeshis. And the world blames Israel because the world's full of Jew-hating scumbags. But the world was a victim that day. Why does the world not recognize that the world was a victim of what the Hamas terrorists did? Funded by Iran. Funded by Iran. The terror sponsor number one. Speaking of Iran, the United States has denied visas for those scumbags to come here, planning for the World Cup. The Iran visa denial by U.S. raises inclusion questions before Soccer World Cup by Yanga Sebemba. Inclusion questions. Excuse me, Yanga Sebemba. Why in the world are you talking about inclusion? We don't include terrorists in soccer. You see those stupid signs they wear on their shirts, the bands they wear, they put in the stadiums against racism? Well, what do you think the terrorism is? Most of it is racism. Questions on how inclusive the 2026 Soccer World Cup in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada will have surfaced after the U.S. rejected visa applications of Iranian soccer officials for the tournament draw in December. Well, I don't give a flying flip about how inclusive it is. I don't want terrorists in my country. Fresh questions have bubbled to surface after the U.S. reportedly refused an Iranian delegation visas. The ceremony is scheduled to take place on the 5th of December in D.C., but as things stand, Iran will not have anyone representing them despite their qualification for the tournament. Iran is one of the 12 nations on the U.S. ban list, which was conceptualized by President Trump's administration, ratified in June 2025. Alongside Iran, the travel list bans includes Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. And they act as if Trump is the first administration to have countries that Americans cannot travel to. We can't go to North Korea. We've never been able to go to North Korea. Idiots. The Iranians have no business coming here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Australians are led by a cabal of leftist hate wankers who lie to their people, incarcerate them after disarming them at legitimate, lawful protest marches in places like Melbourne during the lockdown. It's also a country being led down the primrose path by lying politicians about global warming. We saw what Trump had to say about that at the United Nations. TruthMap reveals the scale of Australia's net zero push. 31,000 turbines, 550 million solar panels. The new Truth Map is aimed to catalog and track for the first time the 1.38 trillion Australian dollars worth of net zero bullshit developments across Australia. The new Truth Map is aimed to catalog and track for the first time 860 million US dollars worth of net zero developments across the continent. Australians can expect current wind turbine building to increase by 6 times to 31,000 towers. The researchers estimate that only 30 to 40% of the turbines can be operational in a single moment due to weather conditions and will need to be replaced every 15 to 20 years. On top of that, Australians can expect to see 350 to 550 million solar panel units to cover 443,755 hectares, an area larger than the metropolitan of Sydney. They're estimated to be only be operational due to cloudy conditions 18 to 25% of the time and need to be replaced every 25 years. 28,000 miles of transmission lines, or kilometers, longer than a single lap around the equator, and 7,800 kilometers of undersea cables through maritime habitats. There are an expected 44,000 kilometers of new haulage roads required to transport heavy turbine blades, like this disgusting site. That's an expanse longer than all of Australia's coastline. That's one wind turbine tower. It's stuck. The online tool by Rainforest Reserves Australia was officially launched on October 6th on World Habitat Day. Users can zoom in on their own suburb in order to see the renewables projects that are being planned or operating in that area. The Truth Map empowers every Australian to see what's really happening. Zoom in your backyard and see what's coming. For far too long, the full picture has been hidden from the public. This isn't about economics. It's the kind of country we leave for future generations. Australians have not been honestly told the scale of what is planned for their land, seas, and communities. Of course not, because scumbag politicians and their perverse religion of climate change. The sheer extent of the destruction of our regions can finally be seen, easily searched, and all in one place. Wow. And this is what's coming to everyone. Coming to everyone. See, when they talk about green energy, they lie. They never talk about the true holistic cost of it. The solar panels on my roof are only there because the price of electricity was doubling here, and it was outrageous, and the state had a scheme that I don't pay for the panels to be installed. A company does it. They hook it up. I get paid for excess electricity. It goes back into the grid. And then in theory, I don't pay electricity. But the reality is I do pay off the loan. It's not my loan. The loan, I'm paying a monthly fee for the panels being on my roof. And that essentially pays for the panels over the course of years. They eventually become mine after the loan is paid off. In the meantime, I do put electricity back in the grid, but the system is set up so that I can't profit from it. In other words, I can't just pour extra surplus in there and make tons of money by having batteries and storing energy. But the point is that that's the only reason I have solar panels. But they must be replaced in 25 years, 15 to 25 years, which is about the time they belong to me. And it's all a scam. It's all a scam. A newly elected mayor in Western Germany was not mortally, but seriously wounded. A newly elected mayor in Germany found with serious stab wounds. The mayor in a Western German town was found with stab wounds, and Chancellor Friedrich Merz says she was a victim of an abhorrent act, but they won't give any other information. Here you can see them with an emergency helicopter evacuating her. Newly elected mayor of a town in Western Germany found with life-threatening wounds today, and Chancellor Merz said she was a victim of an abhorrent act. Iris Stalzer was elected mayor of Herdecke on the 20th of September. She's a member of the center-left Social Democrats, the junior party of the national government. Found in her home with life-threatening wounds shortly after 1 p.m. Tuesday. 1 p.m. Well, 6 hours. So it's 1 p.m. here now almost. Yeah, so it was 6 hours ago. They won't comment on the nature of wounds, but the leader of the Social Democrats told reporters that we heard a few minutes ago that newly elected mayor was stabbed in Herdecke. She wrote on social media, Merritt wrote on social media, that we fear for the life of the mayor-elect and hope for a full recovery. Stalzer, who beat a candidate from Merritt's center-right Christian Democrats in a runoff to win the election, is due to take office on November 1st. It's a town of 23,000 people in the Ruhr region between Hagen and Dortmund. She's 57, married, 2 teenage kids, and spent most of her life in the town of Herdecke and worked as a lawyer specializing in labor law. And her life is hanging by a thread at this hour. No idea if it's political violence or it's domestic. No word on that. Well, France is in serious jeopardy as Emmanuel Macron refuses to step down. The record-fast collapse of yet another government confronts Emmanuel Macron and his country with an intensifying crisis. The brief, unhappy story of the latest French government, whose only achievement was to set a record for the brevity of its tenure, amounts to a chronicle of a disaster foretold. Yep, France is collapsing. Its economy, its politics. Well, South American leftists are also disappearing from the scene. A pink tide among democracies may ebb in upcoming elections as voters in Chile, Colombia, and Brazil shift to the right amid economic and immigration worries. Isn't that ironic? So they attack Trump, but South Africa is kicking out immigrants. Nigeria is kicking out immigrants. Latin American countries are kicking out immigrants, but Trump's the bad guy. When Gabriel Boric, a 35-year-old student activist, was elected president of Chile nearly 4 years ago, he was hailed as a harbinger of a swing to the left. Within months, Colombia chose a former guerrilla fighter as its first ever leftist leader. Brazil, the continent's economic and population behemoth, denied its Trumpian president a second term and returned to the convicted criminal Lula. The three proclaim themselves the vanguard of a new movement. But as new elections approach, the left is struggling over much of the continent. In Bolivia, where the socialists were defeated in August for the first time in 2 decades, a presidential runoff later this month will pit the centrist right against the right-wing candidate. Colombian President Gustavo Petro has less than a year left in his term-limited office and is widely criticized for chaotic leadership. The left is suffering in Latin America. Good. Donald Trump is talking of invoking the Insurrection Act. People are suddenly dusting off the Insurrection Act. What is it? President Trump said yesterday he would invoke the Insurrection Act in Portland if necessary. Portland's on fire. Portland's been on fire for years, and that's not so much saving it. We have to save something else because I think it's all insurrection. The Insurrection Act of 1807 is a federal law that allows the president to deploy U.S. military or federalized National Guard troops to quash what the president sees as insurrection against U.S. authority. Well, we had that, folks. According to a 2006 report by the Congressional Research Service, before invoking the insurrection, the president must first issue a proclamation ordering the insurgents to disperse within a limited time. If the situation does not resolve itself, the president may issue an executive order to send the troops. Well, good on him. We had insurrection in Chaz in 2020, and he did nothing about it. It's about time he started stepping up for the insurrection. The Supreme Court heard arguments earlier today on a Colorado ban on conversion therapy for minors. The Supreme Court heard its first major case of the new term. A lawyer for Kaylee Childs, a licensed therapist and evangelical Christian, argued that a Colorado ban on conversion therapy for minors treatment intended to change the identity or behavior of gay and transgender people violates her First Amendment rights to counsel young people in keeping with the tenets of their faith. So they're discussing this. These are people trying to prevent the indoctrination of small children into different sexuality. Senator Chuck Grassley has revealed through his investigation more weaponization by the Federal Bureau of Incompetence, including a 2017 attempt to probe President Trump when he was president. The Senate senior Republican revealed new documents Tuesday that he said show more weaponization by the Federal Bureau of Incompetence against President Trump and his allies, including one that details an effort soon after the 2017 inauguration to find information that could predicate a case. They were on a hunting expedition, a fishing expedition. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Charles Grassley said the email from now ousted Supervisory Special Agent Timothy Thibault said the FBI wasn't close to opening a case, but was aggressively seeking out open source information and human sources that could lead to a case on the 2016 Trump campaign. Wow. Other documents detail the FBI surveillance of Peter Navarro, a Trump aide who was convicted of contempt of Congress for refusing to testify about events on January 6. He invoked executive privilege and was sent to federal prison for it in his 70s. Mr. Grassley and Iowa Republicans said the documents show the FBI could have arrested Mr. Navarro at his home, but instead waited to arrest him in public at Reagan Airport. The way Navarro was treated was unnecessary. The revelations come a day after Grassley revealed the FBI sought phone records on 8 sitting senators in 2023 as part of investigation into the events of January 6th, which turned into Arctic Frost investigation that ended Trump's indictment on charges related to the 2020 election. The FBI surveilled 8 Republican members of Congress illegally. FBI Director Kash Patel said employees involved in the effort have been terminated. They should be prosecuted, not terminated. The FBI's surveillance of Republican senators is part of its Arctic Frost investigation, newly released documents. FBI agents carried out surveillance on the cell phones of Senator Marsha Blackburn, Lindsey Graham, Bill Hagerty, Josh Hawley, Ron Johnson, Cynthia Lamas, Dan Sullivan, and Tommy Tuberville, according to a document which was made public. Representative Mike Kelly of Pennsylvania was also surveilled. It was previously known that Representative Scott Perry and lawyers representing President Trump had their phones seized as part of the investigation. Arctic Frost started in 2022 under then-President Joe Biden. By the way, Scott Perry's had to spend in excess of $1 million of his own money, that he had to borrow much of it, to pay for legal fees under this bullshit investigation meant to destroy a political opponent. This is what they do, seeking to destroy a political opponent with government lawfare. Arctic Frost started in 2022 under then illegitimate President Joe Biden, was launched into the alleged conspiracy to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. Investigation is taken over by special counsel Jack Dipshit Smith, who ended up charging Trump illegitimately. I hope Jack Smith winds up in prison. President Trump lambasted the sleazebag Jack Smith for the FBI spying on GOP phones. President Trump ripped former dipshit special counsel Jack Smith, illegally appointed, by the way, under the special counsel law, calling him a real sleazebag after it was revealed that the FBI obtained phone records of 8 Republican senators and 1 House lawmaker. Deranged Jack Smith caught with his hand in the cookie jar, a real sleazebag, Trump said on Truth Social. Yep, 100% correct. There's no predicate that we can find for the solicitation of these telephone records, which I think emphasize the political weaponization that was behind all this effort, and we're still getting more information. In other words, there was no basis to request a warrant to listen to these elected member of government's phones. No basis whatsoever. Once again, Democrats using the sophisticated intelligence gathering apparatus of the United States government to spy on Americans. Obama did it to journalists and wasn't prosecuted for it. Biden did it to members of government sitting in Senate and House, and nothing's been done. I want sealed indictments from a grand jury against every one of these sleazebags. I want them all hauled before the courts and bankrupted for their crimes against this country. Their assets seized, their lives put in jeopardy, their lives ending up in orange jumpsuits. They are slimy criminals who violated the Constitution and violated public law to go after political opponents and disrupt this nation's trajectory. And the harm done by them is incalculable. Prison is where they all belong, and that's too good for them. Speaking of a place, someone who belongs in prison, Mr. I Never Refuse a Donut, J.B. Tubbillard Pritzker, and Chicago are suing President Trump over his constitutionally mandated authority. Lawsuit is the latest escalation between the administration and Democratic-led states. Illinois officials sued President Trump on Monday from deploying National Guard forces to Chicago as the administration's confrontation with Democratic-led states escalated nationwide. He ordered federalization of 300 Illinois National Guardsmen over the objection of Tubbillard, Too Many Donuts, J.B. Pritzker. Yep. Contending the emergency conditions beyond the control of civilian authorities were impeding the enforcement of federal immigration law. Well, it's true. The city has actively undermined federal law enforcement and endangered the lives of federal agents. So I think that Brandon Johnson should be arrested for his criminal actions. Treasury Department has sanctioned Mexican companies accused of aiding the cartel fentanyl production. The Treasury Department says that Los Chapitos has consistently procured precursor chemicals, overseen illicit laboratories, and managed drug distribution. Wow. The ingredients for fentanyl, of course, are produced in China and exported to Mexico, where syndicates such as the Sinaloa cartel and the Jalisco New Generation cartel manufacture a deadly product shipped across the border for a customer base in U.S. addicts. Treasury Department said this network of companies and individuals supplies precursor chemicals, which are used to process and make more complex chemicals to Los Chapitos. So they've been sanctioned. Others have also been sanctioned by the Treasury Department. Long overdue. Trump officials are headed to Illinois and Oregon, the center of contention. 200 National Guard troops from Texas were expected outside Chicago on Tuesday. President Trump said he would consider invoking emergency powers to get around legal obstacles. Well, there are no legal obstacles. We just have people using lawfare to stop the president from exercising his constitutionally authorized role. A lawsuit has been filed against the Environmental Protection Agency for ending a $7 billion boondoggle solar program. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, former New York member of Congress, announced the end of the program, saying the agency no longer has the authority to administer it. A group of business owners who won't be getting money that they thought they were going to fleece from the taxpayer and nonprofit groups sued the Environmental Protection Agency for ending a $7 billion boondoggle residential solar program. Solar for All program was set up by the crooked Biden regime as part of its Inflation Reduction, Inflation Creation Act. In April 2024, the program awarded grants to 60 recipients, including tribes, states, and nonprofits, to expand solar energy access to low-income and disadvantaged communities to tackle climate concerns and reduce energy costs and drive our country into oblivion. On August 7th, the EPA announced it was terminating the program designed to disperse grants to more than 900,000 low-income households. The lawsuit filed against the EPA and its administrator called the decision unlawful, as Congress had already appropriated $7 billion to the agency to ensure low-income, disadvantaged communities received access. The grant program would have saved around $400 annually in residential electricity costs for beneficiaries. So 900,000 low-income families get to save themselves $400 at our expense of $7 billion. So we are going to save $400 per year for 900,000 families at the cost of $7 billion. The program would have reduced greenhouse gases by more than 30 million metric tons. Turn the lights off. Yep. Anyway, there you have it. That's the news for today, folks. I hope that you found that informative and interesting. Alrighty. I believe they have been stockpiling gold for a while now, and it's apparently related to creating their own currency backed by gold. Who, Daniel? Who is stockpiling gold? Kamala Harris keeps... Oh, that's why I left off my video of wear your sign. I didn't have a picture of Kamala Harris in there. I kind of messed up there. It's a lot of money to defend himself. It is. It's ridiculous. It's now over $1 million. He did nothing wrong. They just targeted him. He did nothing wrong. They've targeted him. And they've targeted him now with, PACs running ads, lying about him, claiming he cut Social Security. He has no authority to cut Social Security. Claiming he voted against security. Never happened. But idiots will believe it. And he barely won because they redistricted this area and turned it into a almost 50-50 split between rational Americans and lunatics, Republicans and Democrats. So he barely survived his last two elections. I'm thinking maybe he should leave, but I'm happy to fill that slot if he wants to leave. Soros is top of that list. Yes, he is. Federal prisons for Democrats. Trump exposing all. Geez, how needed was his president. Yes, Sean, he was very much needed. There we go. Sean, thank you for your membership. And King of Truth Telling. And Philip Holtzhausen will please see the fake article on Daily Investor titled One Thing Trump Gets Wrong About South Africa. Okay, Daily Investor. Let me go to that. Daily Investor. Daily Investor, South Africa. One thing Trump gets wrong. Let's go to that. Daily Investor. Okay. Cloudflare. Making sure I'm a human. And it's very slow. Any day now. Okay. That's not the right window. Excuse me. Hang on a second here. And thank you, Bitter Ender, for becoming a member. I thought you were already a member, man. I thought you were already a member. Okay, De Ruyter. I don't see any article on Trump. Oh, there it is. One thing Trump gets wrong about South Africa. From Bloomberg, of course. This isn't even their article. This is licensed. On a warm spring day, more than 6,000 marked the anniversary of apartheid nationalist Paul Kruger. Authorities. President Trump, African speakers, most of them are white, account for 11% of the population. And hold positions. They're not 11% of the population. They're 7%. And they're not Afrikaners. Afrikaners only account for about 4% of the population. Afrikaans, English-speaking white farm. Okay, doing well. Trump's allegations the group are being targeted. Its decision to offer them refugee status, even as the administration rejects asylum seekers from almost everywhere else, has given a national voice to such concerns. First off, that's a lie. Refugee status and asylum are two completely different things. Most of the asylum seekers are fraudulent, and the press, if they report it, would report that over 95% of all asylum claims are rejected because they're fraudulent. So you can't mention the two in the same breath. They're idiots. They're calling Callie Krill the leader of a fringe Afrikaner rights group. It's not fringe. It's mainstream. They say AFRICOM played a key role in persuading Trump that white farmers are being victimized. That's not true. What else? So what's the one thing you got wrong? I don't see. What's the one thing you got wrong? I don't see. What's the one thing? What's the one thing? I'll do a search of one. Find in page. Okay, it's in the title. Authorities made no attempt to halt or interfere with the peaceful celebration of memorial commemorating African rule was an open display, just one signal that belies the claim. Okay. Akile Obodo, a Liberian who wore his own traditional dress event, which attended South African wife and 2 children, heralded as a celebration of culture. We're all one people. Africans must unite. Okay, there's nothing here, this one thing that Trump got wrong. So I don't get it. I don't get what Bloomberg's saying. But I'll take a look closer to look at this article later on and see what's going on there, okay? All right. It's as if once people enter politics, they leave the real world. Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of them, yep. Also heard some news that UK will debate war with Putin. Debate what? They're going to go to war? No. The UK military is a joke. I mean, they could be defeated by Botswana. Just a question. Why is gold purchases going through the roof? Because there's uncertainty. PK, whenever there's uncertainty, people flee to specie, or not from specie, to bullion. That's just, they go to platinum, they go to gold. That's been the history. Gold has been a safe haven for, I mean, it's physical, it's tangible, you can hold it. It retains value. It also loses value, but it can retain value and recover the value. So, whereas paper specie, once it loses confidence, it just disappears. Look at the Zimbabwean dollar. Look at the Reichsmark in Germany. Yes, Philip Holtz, the FBI illegally tapped. There's no predicate. You have to have a predicate to get a warrant. You can't just give a warrant because you want to spy on somebody. You have to have just cause to do it. They didn't have just cause. And that's what happened. Show me the battery and I will show you the issues. Boils down if the bat is perfect. I don't know what you're talking about there. So-called green energy is a forest. The panels for home might make sense, but the scale of land that gets damaged. Yeah, exactly. Mad Max, our stuff is sorted and nicely explained. Check your WhatsApp. Also, Americanor's update website with them. All right, thank you, Mad Max. Appreciate that. I think you were having issues, but now it's sorted. That's good to hear. Is solar in demand or popular in America? Yes and no. When the government was giving free rides and tax breaks, it was popular and it soared. But it's incredibly expensive. When I looked at putting panels in my house to meet my needs and putting batteries in, it was over $40,000. So that's why I didn't do it. It's ridiculous. And I don't want these batteries, which are toxic and dangerous and which leach material out in my basement. I don't want them in there. They're also fire hazards. I mean, look at Teslas that are in people's garages that catch on fire and burn their houses down. Yeah, no. It's not a well thought out concept. I have panels in my house now. These panels are manufactured in Germany, I think, and the controlling software and everything is from Israel, and they work really, really well. Let me take a look and see what my production is today. It looks like it's not a very sunny day. It's also early. It's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so we usually peak as 2 to 5. But it's also fall but it's been a very good October so far, getting about 33 kilowatts per day, which is pretty high for this area. Let me see. It's taking forever to load up. Okay, here we go. I'm currently at 8 kilowatts produced for the day. And it's producing 4.24, which is about supposedly half the capacity, but they're not really 8 kilowatts. They're really only about 6. They told me it's going to be 8. So it's 4 kilowatts per hour right now I'm producing. On October 1st, I had 36, 31, 35, 33, 34, 34. And today I'm at 8 now, but it's early in the day. So these panels, since they went in November of 2023, have produced over 18 megawatts of electricity. Some of that's gone back into the grid. Some of that's been burnt here at the house. So right now it's generating power, which is probably powering most of my house and putting a little excess back into the grid. Yep. On average, I use 17 kilowatts per day for my house. That's about what it runs. I think that's about right, yeah. So if I produce anything over that, then it's money in the bank, okay? Because there's no storage. It goes into the grid through the inverter. Otherwise, I don't get it. It doesn't get stored. Why is it such an issue that Iran are being excluded from World Soccer? Russia was excluded. Exactly. Thank you, Marissa. Thank you. That's exactly the question I'm going to ask. Thank you very much for that. Why do they care about Iran? because it's just racism. It's bullshit is what it is. It's racism by a black journalist attacking America, falsely claiming we're racist. That they talk the word inclusion. Yep, Russia. Yeah, Russia was excluded. Yep. We don't want terrorists. So that's a video I'm going to make now. That's a third video I got to make. Thank you for that. I was thinking about making a video on that. Yeah, it just shows you've hit it spot on, Marissa. Russia was excluded. You know, it's like refugees. And the Second World War, there were 30 million refugees floating around Europe. They're all white. So what's the problem with having white refugees? There were 300,000 Ukrainians who came to this country. They didn't cry about that, but only white South Africans. Regarding the wind turbines, as President Trump said, China is happy to sell them, but why don't they use them? Exactly. Why don't they use them? Australia's pushing more green than I expected. Issue remains the battery. The battery is not green at all. No, the batteries are not green at all. They're dangerous. 301 likes. We're down to 319 people currently watching. Makes me wonder why the ANC wants to take away citizens' firearms. Doesn't make me wonder. We saw what happened in Australia. Australia disarmed its citizens over the bogus concept that they need to be disarmed, and then they suppressed them with fascist police jackbooted thug tactics, arresting people peacefully protesting, exercising their rights. Just cannot wrap my head around this outrage against Israel. It is total madness, Freya. It is absolute madness. It doesn't make any. Dogzilla's here for the nice refugee interview from Wisconsin. It was really encouraging. Well, thank you for that, Dogzilla. Clouds are gathering. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Dogzilla. Yeah, no, it's really discouraging. I mean, you know, people act as if nothing ever happened. They act as Israel just crossed the border and started murdering civilians. That's not what happened. That is not what happened. And also, I'm irritated, and I've been irritated since October 7th by this whole thing portrayed as an attack on Jews. The Nova Musical Festival was full of Christians, Buddhists, Muslims, and Jews from all over the world. Americans, Filipinos, Bangladeshis, Indians, Japanese, Americans, Germans. And these bastards murdered these people. And I blame the Israeli Defense Forces for that, for failing to recognize the threat and ignoring the intelligence warnings. Yep. Yep. All right. Where are we at here? What scares me is so many countries are trying to buy gold now. Oh, well, that doesn't scare me. That's why its price is driving up. Can Malaya travel overseas? Depends on the country. Some country let criminals enter, some don't. I mean, what is a felony in one country is not a felony in another country sometimes. Unless he breaks out of prison. Well, he could have talked to Kat, or who's the guy who escaped. No, you can't print more gold. That's the thing. It's limited, and it's a resource that is finite. Although we keep finding more of it, it's not like it comes in abundance. Iran may well. Yeah, Iran would take him. North Korea would let him come by. Russia would probably let him visit. China would probably let him visit, but real countries won't let him. Mailed you again. Read when you can. Okay, Samantha. I won't see anything from you. When did you mail me? Oh, there it is. It just came. Just came. Okay. Well, sorry. It was refreshing. Okay, good. Thank you for sharing that, Samantha. Cool. And I got something from somebody telling me they're a permanent resident of South Africa. Permanent resident is not a South African citizen. So you can put in, but I doubt it's going to happen. So the person who sent me that, sorry to break it to you. Yeah. So. Yeah. Hamas lists key demands as Egypt talks underway amid. So now Hamas has demands. Hamas has demands. Oh my goodness. What are Hamas's demands? Wow. Oh boy. Who cares what Hamas's demands are? They're criminals. A ceasefire has been declared between Syrian forces and Kurdish fighters. Didn't even know they were fighting. Didn't even know they were fighting. Costco is going to sell Ozempic. Yeah, I saw that. Philip. I saw they're selling Ozempic and that other one. Yep. What is that stuff called? Hang on a second here. I think I sent that link to somebody. Hang on, I know I sent it. Here's what I sent. It was Washington Post. Costco is selling its popular weight loss drugs for $499. Selling the popular weight loss for $499 a month. A steep discount as rising obesity boosts demand for the drugs and their cheaper copycats. Novo Nordisk U.S. President David Moore told NBC News that the drug makers push into Costco's way to offer real, authentic Wegovy and Ozempic patients care. The list price for Ozempic is nearly $1,000 per injectable pen, and Wegovy is around $1,350. So that's a huge discount for people who want to take it. Yep. World Gold Counts reports that year-to-date net purchases for August totaled 650,700 tons. Wow, that's impressive. Poland has emerged as top buyer, adding over six. Well, that's strange because usually India and China are the largest buyers of gold normally, so it's surprising to see Poland. So they must be stockpiling. 15-20% of annual global gold mine production, underscoring gold's role as a natural reserve asset. Thank you, PK. You're loud, but I don't hear you. You're loud, but I don't hear you. That's funny. Well, folks, lots going on in the world. There's always lots going on. Rob Hersoff takes Ozempic. I don't think so. I don't think Rob needs to take something like that. That seems odd. That's an odd claim. So my video that I published just before this, let's see what it's at now. It's at 3,600, and I've gained 1 subscriber from it. Wow. Anyway, so yeah, it's only been up for an hour. I guess I published it after I started this. Yeah, so it's only been up for an hour and a half. Okay, I was going to say, yeah, hour and a half. Anyway. Yeah, so we'll see what's happening there. Hopefully it'll gain some subscribers. Yesterday's video looks like it's tailed off now on the ANC. I'm a little frustrated about this was, so I'm getting about 1,000 per hour. That's not bad. But Ronaldo did a video about the plane landing in Uppington, the Russian plane, and he had over 100,000 views in 9 hours. I've got 24 hours later, and I've only got 27,000 views. So obviously something's going on here. He promoted that he used it. That's news to me. Okay, I didn't know that. All right, well. Yes, the best weight loss drug is exercise. Actually, no, Vernon, the best weight loss method is diet. If you control your diet and then you exercise, there you go. So exercise alone won't do it if you continue to increase your caloric intake. Did you get your TPMs? I haven't done it yet, Utopi. I want to finish that interview because I'm going to have to reboot my computer and go into the BIOS to change it, and I didn't want everything upset. So I will probably do that this evening because I'm running out of time. The 14th, I think, is when I can no longer get the free Windows update. So 53 in 2 years with a diet. Did it stay off, though, Samantha? Take care, Husky 7. Yeah, Maze, I think those drugs are dangerous. I'm not taking drugs for weight loss, exercise, but I can't exercise right now. But I've never needed weight loss, although I could lose a few pounds right now. I've always been very thin until my hip, and now I've gained a couple pounds. Her diet is 80% of the weight loss and exercise. Well, I don't know if that's true, Daniel, but I would say anecdotally that's probably accurate. It's called putting down fork diet. Yeah, something is going on here. What do you mean, PK? Ronaldo's entertain the youngsters, Colonel, and you sit with us old tuppies. Well, you'd be surprised how many young people are watching this program, Mad Max. Well, I don't know if refugees be putting in donuts. I don't eat them. And pancakes. I don't eat pancakes, and I don't eat donuts. Yeah, Malema has lost more weight than Louis Liebenberg has lost in prison. Yep. Economic diet, you have no money. Yeah. Phoenix says, yeah, I'm young. Tall and good weight considering the hip. Thank you, Bitter Ender. Yeah, well, I mean, without the hip, my ribs are exposed. I have brand wine and Coke. That's your weight loss program? Oh, and you're still losing more. Well, that's good, Samantha. I mean, if it's healthy. Poland, number 1. Well, that's a big change, PK. That's a very big change. Traditionally, for the past few decades, India and China are the biggest purchasers of gold. Also, Byron Shepard did a bit on the plane, too. I didn't see that. How's his doing? Let me look at Morning Shot. I haven't looked at Morning Shot in a while. I've been busy. Morning Shot. Let me see. Come on. Let me see. Let's take a look at Morning Shot and see what they've come up with. Sanction, he's got 40,000 views. So Ronaldo's winning that case. Maybe Ronaldo's first.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Morning Show, where we discuss the latest retardation that's going on in South Africa today. Because I couldn't be honest with you, the news is.
I love that. Byron's very entertaining when it comes to that. I guess Ronaldo won that lottery. He did a story. Must have been the first one to come out. I don't know, because mine has 27,000 views. But all things being equal, Ronaldo should have more views. He has almost 100,000 more subscribers than I do. And then Byron has about 40,000 more than I do. So he should come second and I should come third. But that's all things being equal. But given that my video was the best one, it should be the highest performer. Okay, Fabian, I didn't know that you promoted. I had no idea that Rob was doing that. Yes, hell will freeze over before Julius Malema goes to jail. But if he gets a 13 or 12-month or longer sentence, he'll be removed from Parliament, which is what needs to happen. That's what I want to happen. Boy, PK is all wrapped up in this gold thing. Do you have gold futures or you own mining stocks? What's going on? People taking Ozempic and Wegovy went on Keytruda because some put on weight from immunotherapy. Yes, I know what Keytruda does. My mother had stage 4 metastatic lung cancer, and that was one of the treatments that was available for it, if I recall correctly. What's written on the shirt? Shoshone Falls, Twin Falls, Idaho. You see the two waterfalls there, one here and one there, so on each side. So it's the waterfalls. I like the lavender shirt. I'm a purple person, so yep. Philip just has Krugerrands. I wish I had Krugerrands. Buy them from old guys and Parle and wine farmers. There's more leverage with gold, mining stocks, and bullion. Yes, there is Star Chaser. That's correct. 5,000 views an hour is great. That will strategy. Well, I do have many strategies, Del Marie. They don't always work though. One thing that hurts you is when I produce content that's not intended to get popular. It's because it's interesting or because some of my viewers like it. Like, for instance, I published the song yesterday, and that song is only got 1,000 views. That kills the algorithm. I lost a subscriber. It says I lost a subscriber for this thing. So when you produce a video that's not going to do well, it hurts your algorithm. So we don't need to hear the ad. There's an ad playing. I'll take the ad. I'll take the money from it. It's a fraction of a penny, but I'll take it. So this is the one that I'm talking about. Come on, let the ad play so I get that fraction of a penny. Okay, how much longer is it? 16 seconds. I'm not going to wait that long. All right, so this is the one I loaded up and only has 1,000 views, but people like it.
Stupid people should wear signs, neon bright, so we can find a way to dodge their tangled mess, avoid their chaos more, say less. Wear a sign, wear a sign. Save me from your twisted line. Wear a sign, wear a sign. Nada, nada, don't waste your time. Politicians dance and spin.
Yes, they do. Ba-da-ba.
Laden lies with a practiced grin.
Ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba.
Blame the moon, blame the stars, blame the traffic or faulty cars.
Blame faulty cars.
You think they're 6, not 35.
She's actually 85.
I
think he's 105.
Stay alive. Wear a sign, wear a sign. Save me from your twisted line. Wear a sign, wear a sign.
He's actually dead, Chuck Schumer.
Nada, nada, don't waste your time. Celebrities with tails so tall.
Pelosi with broccoli in her teeth.
It's so small. It's hard being rich, don't you see?
Liz Cheney.
You're living in your
Spartacus. Wear a sign, Spartacus. Charlize Theron. Maisie Hirono. Dickie Durbin. Because I did that video, which only gets 1,000 views, it hurts the algorithm. Oh, such is life. Such is life. Not a big deal. Catchy tune. I like it. I had to be careful because Bill Engvall has copyrighted Here's Your Sign. So we went around that and wear a sign. Yeah, they're all superficial and fake. And yes, I did leave off Kamala Harris, and I did leave off, who else was just asking? Someone else. Greta Thunberg is also not in there. I've missed the opportunity. I could have put both of them in there. Yeah, why'd all Dems look like... I don't know, Ian. I don't know. Charlize Benoni woke blonde. That's right. Bottle blonde Charlize. What did Charlize Theron say? That there's 34 Afrikaners. That's what she said. Or 38 Afrikaners. She's dumb as a box of rock. I said Theron. I said Charlize Theron. Stop correcting me, Afrikaans. How many songs do I have now? Must be approaching 100. Let me see. Suno. I have. Oh, come on, boys. Let's get to my library. Okay. It's still got that. Okay, let's go to library. Stop. I don't want that. Let's do this here at library. It keeps coming back to the search. Okay, there we go. Okay, so my library. I've got. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pages, and each page has, I think, what, 10? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It has 20. So 20 times 10 is 200, and 260, is that right? 260, but it's actually 130 because you got to take off, most of them are duplicates. So about 120 songs already. So yeah, quite a few. Quite a few now. But they're not all published. I published about 70 songs. Yep, that's Sign of the Times. And then here's the one I did last night. I enjoyed that. There's no video with this one. So Rocky Mountain Vibes. You know what? You're right, Hank Adrian say. I meant to put Hank Johnson in there, but I forgot. I didn't do that video in one stretch. I had to leave and go to a township planning meeting, and I came back and I forgot about Hank Johnson. I meant to put Kamala Harris and Hank Johnson in there. Yep, I missed my chance.
Twin Falls whispers, the canyon's deep call, Salt Lake shadow, where the saints stood tall. Jackson Hole mornings, cold air bites my skin, Grand Tetons rising, where the dreams begin. This is the place, the land we hold, faith and family, hearts of gold. Aspen quakes, old roots run wide, Rocky Mountain vibes, where the soul can't hide. Yellowstone's thunder, guys that scream the past. Sun Valley's quiet, where time moves fast. Shoshone voices, echoes on the breeze, Ute and Paiute stories carved in the trees. Pioneers carved paths in stone, built this land, made it their own. This is the place, the land we hold, faith and family, hearts of gold.
Rocky Mountain
Snake
vibes.
River winding, lifeline in the dust. Man and beast drinking, in its flow we trust. Valleys and buds filled with dreams untold. This land's our story, a treasure to hold.
Rocky Mountain vibes, folks. Yeah, there you go. Whoops. Oh, it's trying to go to the next version. Stop that. I thought I stopped it. It's a little touchy. That's why I have to download the music a lot of times. Bert the Buffalo is also here. I took them off for the interview with the refugees. So Bert the Buffalo's there. Bert the Bison, excuse me. Bert the Bison. He's not a buffalo. He's Bert the Bison. Yep. Yeah, the guitar is pretty cool there at the end, strumming along. All right, guys, I'm going to be interviewed in an hour and a half, so I'm going to take a break here, maybe get some food. Thanks for asking. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it already. Appreciate it, and we'll catch you later. All right? Please go watch my videos. We got a couple videos up. The one from yesterday about Uppington, please watch that. Also, please feel free to go watch the video today about the EFF harassing someone. I'm also going to make another couple more videos. We'll see how it goes. All right? Thanks, everybody. Take care. God bless. And thanks for being here. It's always a distinct pleasure. I really do appreciate the support and the viewership. Cheers.